to the permanent representative, our distinguished colleague, Ambassador Mohan Pieris, permanent representative of Sri Lanka. You have the floor, Excellency.
Thank you, Ambassador Pedro. At the outset, let me extend my delegation's warmest congratulations to you and the other members of the Bureau on your election. Allow me to assure you of my delegation's fullest support and cooperation during the proceedings of this committee. Sri Lanka also aligns itself with the statement delivered on behalf of the non-aligned movement. Mr. Chairman, terrorism is one of the gravest threats to global peace and security. All acts of terrorism are clear violations of international laws, including human rights law, humanitarian law, and refugee law. We are deeply concerned, therefore, about the spread of terrorist organizations, the growth of terrorist organizations, and the significant rise in terrorist attacks worldwide, which directly hinder the global collective effort to achieve sustainable development and threaten efforts to maintain global peace and security. As a country, Mr. Chairman, that has experienced terrorism for nearly 30 years, Sri Lanka condemns terrorism in all its forms and expressions, regardless of the motivation, and wherever and whenever and by whomsoever committed. Mr. Chairman, the COVID-19 pandemic has shown us that terror groups are versatile, opportunistic, sophisticated, and able to adapt to changing environments. In this context, technology, particularly information and communications technologies, has emerged as a favored tool, the favored hunting ground, so to speak, for terrorists to engage in terrorist activities such as recruitment, financing, propaganda training, information gathering, and the dissemination of their own ethos. Furthermore, the rising threat posed by terrorist attacks on the basis of xenophobia, racism, or intolerance, or in the name of religion or belief, is also of particular concern. Mr. Chairman, it therefore requires coordinated global measures, and the root causes of terrorism must be addressed by promoting religious dialogue and intercultural tolerance. We must not forget, and we are grateful that the United Nations and its specialist agencies are at the forefront in the fight against terrorism. Sri Lanka stresses the importance of adhering strictly to the United Nations Charter and other international laws when combating terrorism, whilst being sensitive to the adherence to the preservation of human rights and of international humanitarian law. In this regard, Mr. Chairman, it may be worthwhile to recall that post-conflict measures, including the rehabilitation and confidence-building measures, form an important component of eradicating terrorism and preventing its remanifestation. In Sri Lanka, we were able to successfully rehabilitate and send them back into the mainstream of community around 12,000 ex-cadres or terrorist cadres, including 594 child soldiers, and reintegrate them back into society after 2009. This is in addition to the work carried out by resettling internally displaced persons and demining large tracts of territory, enabling civilian life to resume after the conflict. Mr. Chairman, Sri Lanka commends the efforts of the United Nations Office of Counter-Terrorism and other UN entities engaged in counter-terrorism initiatives, and reaffirms its support for the Office of Counter-Terrorism and the Global Counter-Terrorism Strategy. We will continue to support the work of the General Assembly and the Security Council in coordinating counter-terrorism operations. At the national level, the government of Sri Lanka has established the necessary legal framework to enable law enforcement and the legal system to address acts of terrorism, while strengthening international cooperation in the combat against global phenomenon of terrorism. The Prevention of Terrorism Act and the Public Security Act in particular provide the framework for national counter-terrorism efforts. These laws are currently under consideration so as to ensure that they are consonant with global best practices and international law. Sri Lanka has also been at the forefront of emphasizing the need to address the risks associated with terrorist financing. In this regard, Sri Lanka has implemented a number of legislative measures, including the establishment of the Financial Intelligence Unit and the enacting of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act as part of its law. Mr. Chair, it is a widely accepted phenomenon that criminals quickly adopt, and particularly terrorists, quickly adopt and integrate new technologies into their own modus operandi. The use of new technologies by these organized terrorist groups has an impact on criminal activity across the spectrum of serious and organized terrorism, which includes the exponential growth of online trade and widespread availability of encrypted communication channels, as well as several aspects of technological innovation, such as a much more accessible and cheaper drone technology and sophisticated printing technology. I won't be wrong to say that technology has become a key component of most, if not all, terrorist activities carried out by organized terrorist groups, which has, as a result, a flexibility that has hitherto been unimaginable. Mr. Chairman, given the challenges we face today, Sri Lanka wishes to stress the importance of concluding the draft Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism and urges member states to cooperate in resolving the outstanding issues. There has never been a more crucial time to accomplish this than now. In recent technological advancements the world has seen, none is as likely to have greater impact than the internet. The litany of data that can be used by terrorists is a long one. Cybercrime today has become a global phenomenon and is as borderless as the internet itself. The attack platforms continue to grow as society becomes increasingly digitized, with more people, businesses, public services and devices using the internet. The potential of one terrorist attacker on the internet to affect many other victims is growing by the day. As someone said, a mature crime-as-a-service business model underscores terrorism and provides easy access to tools and services across the range of cybercriminality or terrorism, from entry-level to top-tier actors, including hackers, or in the case of top-level terrorists. Mr. Chairman, Sri Lanka welcomes, therefore, the convening of the first United Nations Global Congress dedicated to advancing the rights and needs of victims of terrorism, which was held on the 8th and 9th of September at the UN headquarters. To conclude, as a nation that has dealt with terrorism for nearly 3 decades, and as the only nation to have eradicated terrorism, we reiterate the need to embark on concrete collective measures to counter terrorism and be ready to impart our experience and knowledge in crafting appropriate responses and provide close cooperation in our common endeavor to ensuring the fundamental right to the protection against terrorism. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I thank the distinguished permanent representative of Sri Lanka for his important statement.